When people think of the fastest guns in Hollywood, names like John Wayne, Randolph Scott, or James Arness often come to mind.
Better keep out of this. You can't do anything without a gun.
Icons forever linked to the golden era of Westerns. But what if we told you that the real fastest draws in Hollywood weren't necessarily the ones you'd expect? Today, we're riding into the heart of the Wild West to uncover the true sharpshooters, actors who didn't just play gunslingers on screen, but who could actually handle a six-shooter with incredible speed. These were legends of both film and frontier fantasy, capable of drawing faster than a rattlesnake's strike. So saddle up as we reveal the fastest guns in Hollywood history. Number 1. Glenn Ford. Glenn Ford, born Gwilyn Samuel Newton Ford, was a Canadian-American actor whose lightning-fast draw made him a legend off-screen as well as on. According to the Virginian pilot, Ford could draw his gun in just 0.4 seconds, earning him the title of Hollywood's fastest gun. His near 50-year career, which began in 1940, was filled with memorable roles in both comedies and westerns. Whether portraying an everyman thrust into extraordinary circumstances or a hardened cowboy, Ford brought charisma and authenticity to every performance. He won 3 Golden Globe Awards for Best Actor in musical or comedy films and starred in hits like The Fastest Gun Alive. His range extended far beyond the frontier. In 1961, he won Best Actor at the Golden Globes for his role in Frank Capra's Pocketful of Miracles, where he starred opposite the iconic Bette Davis as the notorious New York gangster Dave the Dude. Later generations may recognize him from his role as Jonathan Kent, Clark Kent's father, in the 1978 film Superman, where he appeared alongside Christopher Reeve. Glenn Ford's legacy is preserved through 5 of his films added to the Library of Congress National Film Registry for their cultural and historical significance: Gilda, The Big Heat, Blackboard Jungle, 3:10 to Yuma, and Superman. He retired from acting in 1991 due to heart problems, and after a series of strokes, passed away in August 2006 at the age of 90. Number 2. Audie Murphy. Audie Murphy was more than just a Western movie star. He was a real-life war hero. One of the most decorated American soldiers of World War II, Murphy's bravery on the battlefield earned him 33 military medals, including the Medal of Honor, the United States military's highest award for valor. At just 19 years old, Murphy single-handedly held off an entire company of German soldiers for over an hour in the Colmar pocket of France, a feat that earned him national recognition and legendary status. When he returned home, Hollywood took notice. None other than James Cagney helped launch his acting career. After his discharge from the Army in 1945, Murphy turned his real-life grit into cinematic gold. He starred in a number of westerns, including No Name on the Bullet, 40 Guns to Apache Pass, Bullet for a Bad Man, The Quick Gun, and Ride Clear of Diablo. But it was his autobiographical film, To Hell and Back, 1955, that cemented his place in Hollywood history. Based on his wartime experiences, the movie was a massive box office hit, holding the record as Universal's highest-grossing film for 2 decades, until Jaws surpassed it in 1975. Murphy also appeared in Night Passage, 1957, alongside James Stewart, playing his younger brother, and in The Unforgiven, 1960, reuniting with director John Huston. Tragically, on May 28, 1971, Murphy was en route to a business meeting when the private plane he was flying in crashed into a Virginia mountainside during dense fog. All 6 people on board were killed. Audie Murphy was laid to rest with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery, a fitting end for a true American hero and Hollywood legend. Number 3. Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder, born Jerome Silberman, was a remarkable American actor, comedian, writer, and director. You probably recognize him better by his stage name. If you've ever watched the 1974 classic Blazing Saddles, you'll notice how incredibly quick he was with a gun on set. Wilder and Cleavon Little developed a fast friendship, likely because Little was a well-known Broadway star at the time. During filming, Wilder gave Little helpful tips, and together they tackled the serious issue of racism, though always with a humorous twist. Wilder described the film as absolutely brilliant. For the film's premiere, they did something memorable. Around 250 prominent guests, including Little and Wilder, arrived on horseback at the PCK Drive-In Theater in Burbank and watched the movie while still mounted. What a wild experience. Moving on to The Frisco Kid, 1979, the spotlight was mainly on Wilder's role, while Harrison Ford's part was somewhat reduced, even though Ford was riding high on the success of Star Wars just 2 years earlier. Here's the kicker. When the DVD was released, Ford's face was blown up on the cover, while Wilder was relegated to a small corner. Wilder revealed in his book that John Wayne was originally considered for the role of Edward Ford. But when an agent tried to lowball Wayne, he flatly declined, saying, "Nah, I'm good." Wayne was reportedly thrilled with the outcome. Number 4. Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis, affectionately nicknamed Lad de Crazy by his fans in France, was a genuine Hollywood legend in comedy. He wore many hats: comedian, actor, musician, filmmaker, and philanthropist, all rooted in his American background. His big break came in the mid-1940s when he teamed up with the talented singer and actor Dean Martin to form the iconic duo Martin and Lewis. They quickly became one of the most beloved acts of their time, enjoying immense popularity. Here's a surprising fact. Jerry Lewis only appeared in one Western film, Sons of the Former Ranch Partner Lewis, 1956. Rumor has it he was lightning fast with a six-shooter, but Westerns weren't his main focus. In the movie, Lewis, who was raised by his mother, follows Martin to the Wild West to learn what it truly means to be a cowboy. Despite the ranch owner, Martin Foreman, facing financial troubles, they managed to pull through with Lewis's support. Coincidentally, the same day this film premiered, Martin and Lewis made their final appearance as a duo at the Coco Cabana in New York. This was Dean Martin's first venture into the Western genre. Lewis also made a few smaller on-screen appearances later, including reprising his famous b-boy character in the Brazilian comedy 8QU A Ort No Ciare and starring alongside longtime fan Nicolas Cage in the 2016 murder thriller The Trust. In his later years, Jerry Lewis's health declined, which led him to largely retreat from the public eye. He passed away peacefully from unspecified natural causes on August 20th, 2017, at his home in Las Vegas at the age of 91. His legacy remains one of laughter and unforgettable entertainment. Number 5. Sammy Davis Jr. Although comedian Jerry Lewis was rumored to be Hollywood's fastest draw, Sammy Davis Jr. was said to be right on his heels. The veteran stuntman and marksman Arvo Ojala trained Sammy Davis Jr. in the art of the rapid draw. You may recognize Ojala from the iconic opening of every Gunsmoke episode, where Marshal Matt Dillon shoots a gunfighter named Mr. Ojala. In reality, Marshal Dillon wouldn't have stood a chance against the real Mr. Ojala. Over the years, Ojala trained many famous actors in quick draw skills, including James Arness, Robert Culp, James Garner, Paul Newman, Hugh O'Brien, and Clint Walker. Sammy Davis Jr. was among the best trained, reportedly achieving a draw speed between 0.41 and 0.45 seconds. Though he only appeared in one Western film, Gone with the West, 1974, television Westerns like Zane Grey Theater, Lawman, and The Rifleman allowed Davis to showcase his impressive shooting abilities. He also demonstrated his rapid draw skills on various talk shows throughout his career. Number 6. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas was an American actor and director who rose from modest beginnings to Hollywood stardom. His breakthrough role came with The Strange Love of Martha Ivers, co-starring Barbara Stanwyck, which launched him into the spotlight. Throughout the 1950s, Douglas starred in many serious films, spanning dramas, westerns, and war movies, building an impressive reputation. Here's a fun fact. Douglas was reputed to be skilled with a rifle. His career included timeless classics like Along the Great Divide, 1951, Gunfight at the OK Corral, 1957, The Way West, 1967, The War Wagon, 1971, Draw, 1978, and A Gunfight, 1971. He worked with legendary directors such as Billy Wilder, Ace in the Hole, 1951, and Vincente Minnelli, with notable performances including the conflicted film executive Jonathan Shields in The Bad and the Beautiful, 1952, and the tormented artist Vincent van Gogh in Lust for Life, 1956, earning an Oscar nomination. Later in life, Douglas received numerous honors, including the Kennedy Center Honor, 1994, an Honorary Academy Award, 1996, the National Medal of Arts, 2001, and the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award, 1991. He passed away on February 5, 2020, at the remarkable age of 103. According to his son Michael, Douglas is remembered not only for his films, but also as a humanitarian dedicated to making the world a better place. Number 7. Alan Ladd. Alan Ladd, born Alan Walbridge Ladd, was an American actor and film producer. As a child, he was nicknamed Tiny because of his small and frail appearance. However, as a teenager, Ladd silenced his critics by becoming a standout athlete, excelling in swimming and running. He even dreamed of competing in the 1932 Olympics, but a serious injury forced him to abandon those hopes. In 1932, Ladd turned to acting and landed small roles in Warner Brothers films such as Once in a Lifetime and Tom Brown of Culver. By the 1940s and early 1950s, he was thriving in Hollywood, especially in film noirs and tough westerns. Ladd was renowned for his sharpshooting skills, often compared to legends like Annie Oakley and Ed McGivern. For the classic western Shane, 1953, he was mentored by Red Wing, and he portrayed several other western roles in movies like Red Mountain, 1951, The Big Land, 1957, and Guns of the Timberland, 1960. However, in 1962, Ladd accidentally shot himself in what was described as a terrifying incident. Fortunately, he recovered and gave a final standout performance in The Carpetbaggers, 1964, considered one of his best late-career films. Tragically, Ladd was found dead in January 1964. The cause of death was determined to be severe brain swelling caused by a combination of alcohol and sedatives. This marked the unfortunate end of his story. Number 8. Lee Van Cleef, born Clarence Leroy Van Cleef Jr. on January 9, 1925. Lee Van Cleef carved out an impressive career as both an actor and producer over nearly 4 decades. With over 170 film and television roles, he is best remembered for his iconic performances in Sergio Leone's legendary Italian spaghetti westerns, especially for A Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. In 1983, Van Cleef was honored with a Golden Boot Award, recognizing his legendary status in Western films and TV. Given his passion for firearms, it's no surprise that he became an expert marksman. Van Cleef made his big-screen debut in the classic 1952 film High Noon, appearing solo in the very opening scene. He frequently portrayed antagonists in westerns, embracing the genre as his specialty. A fascinating detail, his eyes were 2 different colors, one green and one blue, adding to his unique and striking presence. Although he began painting in the mid-1960s, just as he was considering retirement, Sergio Leone's casting of Van Cleef in For a Few Dollars More in 1965 revived his career and skyrocketed him to European superstardom. This newfound fame soon translated back to the United States, making him a household name again. Beyond The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, Van Cleef appeared in many other notable films like Treasure of Ruby Hills, 1955, Raiders of Old California, 1957, The Big Gun Down, 1967, and Death Rides a Horse, 1967. His commitment to the craft and sharpshooting skills earned him a rightful place among the quickest Western performers of all time. Number 9. J. Silverheels. J. Silverheels, born Harold J. Smith on May 26, 1912, was a Canadian Indigenous actor and athlete best known for his role as Tonto, the Lone Ranger's trusted sidekick on the popular American Western television show, The Lone Ranger. Before this iconic role, Silverheels appeared in many films during the 1940s, mostly in supporting roles portraying Native American characters. Silverheels was reputed to have an impressively quick draw, adding to his Western credibility. For a brief period, he also pursued boxing under the name Silverheels, fighting as a middleweight in a Golden Gloves bout at Madison Square Garden in New York City. In 1993, Silverheels was honored by being inducted into the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum's Hall of Great Western Performers, a well-deserved recognition of his impact on the genre. After the Lone Ranger series ended in 1949, Silverheels reprised his role as Tonto in commercials, guest appearances, and parodies. Off-screen, he became a respected mentor within the Native American acting community and a passionate advocate for Indigenous rights. In later years, Silverheels even ventured into harness racing. Unfortunately, his health declined in the 1970s, and he passed away suddenly in 1980 after suffering a stroke. Number 10. Arvo Ohala. Born February 21, 1920, Arvo Ohala was far from your typical Hollywood figure. While he acted occasionally, Ohala's main claim to fame was as a technical advisor, specializing in fast-draw revolver techniques. You might remember him as the unnamed character shot by Marshal Matt Dillon in the opening seconds of the classic TV Western Gunsmoke. Known as the maestro of the rapid draw, Ohala was the go-to expert during the golden age of television westerns in the 1950s and 60s. His draw speed was officially timed at just 1/6 of a second, faster than the blink of an eye. His groundbreaking technique, which involved cocking the gun as he drew it, revolutionized the Western gunfight scenes in Hollywood. This method was showcased in films like The Tin Star, starring Henry Fonda, and The Restless Gun, starring John Payne. But it was his quick-draw duel with James Arness's character on the streets of Dodge City that truly cemented his legacy. Initially paid a modest $100 for his work, Ohala became an icon thanks to ongoing residuals from TV westerns. At the peak of the genre's popularity, he even opened a quick-draw studio on Sunset Strip, right next to the famous Kingsley liquor store. Ohala's expertise extended to being the gun coach on many films, including The War Wagon, Silverado, Three Amigos, and even Back to the Future Part 3. Among his many students were stars like James Arness, Robert Culp, James Garner, Kevin Kline, and Paul Newman. Thanks for joining this ride through Hollywood's fastest guns, true legends both on and off screen. Their speed and skill helped shape the Wild West we still love today. Next time you watch a Western showdown, remember, the fastest draw might surprise you. Stay sharp out there.